Hey everybody on YouTube, Karl Alexander here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the PlayStation 4 Exclusive Until Dawn. Released on August 25th, 2015, Until Dawn is an interactive choose-your-own-adventure style horror game that follows a group of 8 Canadian teenagers who have decided to spend a night at a creepy-ass mountaintop cabin where exactly 1 year earlier, 2 of their friends disappeared into the night after a classically stupid high school prank went bad. That prank is played on the shy and trusting Hannah, who harbors a crush on some dude bro named Mike. The group thinks it'll be fun to have Mike pretend to show interest in her and record her embarrassment. Of course, Hannah doesn't take this joke very well and runs into the woods alone. Her sister Beth follows, and though Beth eventually finds Hannah, an unidentified figure attacks the girls, causing them to fall to their deaths. The girls' bodies are never found, and a year later their brother Josh invites the entire group back on the anniversary of their disappearance to remember his sisters and hang out with the people who caused their deaths. And for some damn reason, the entire group thinks this sounds like a great idea. Party time, bro! I won't go into every single story element, but it's standard fare for a teen horror flick. You've got some of the kids dating, some are rivals, some like each other but can't admit it, and so on. I feel like diving too far into the story would sort of ruin the game, but I'll try to cover the basics without going too far into spoilers. Essentially, after arriving at the cabin, the teenagers in classic horror fashion begin splitting up, and soon find a creepy psychopath is terrorizing them. Throughout the game, you'll need to make decisions for each of the 8 main characters. These decisions range from stuff like simply disagreeing with people, picking which path to take, or heavy decisions like whether to kill someone or not. The decisions feed into a system the game calls the butterfly effect. Yes, like the movie. Some decisions, even small ones, can cause larger events down the line, or can just make it so Jessica is in her underwear in one scene. As interesting as this system sounds, it only affects a small amount of key moments. There is still a lot to the game you can't change. Certain characters will always make it to certain points, but making certain decisions will lower your chances of having everyone survive. And while I'm talking about gameplay, the only elements of action you'll have are a few slow-mo gunshot sections and a lot of QuickTime events. There's at least one unique use of the DualShock 4 controller where you need to stay extremely still, but beyond that, all the gameplay elements are standard for the interactive story genre. My only gripe with the gameplay is the QuickTime event system. It works like just about any other system, where you need to hit certain buttons at certain times, but because the game is so dialogue heavy, sometimes when a QuickTime event scene comes up, it can be surprising, causing you to miss the first event. I'm not sure how you could do it, but some sort of notification that it's game time would have been helpful, since so much of this game is just wandering around in third person and listening to dialogue. One aspect of the gameplay I thought the developers did a great job at was training you to understand the butterfly effect system and the decision mechanics early on. It uses very small, inconsequential events to teach you that decisions have consequences, and in many cases the best action is to do nothing. The game never throws you into a situation you haven't already encountered, and very important decisions don't seem to be introduced until the player has a handle on how the system works. There are also clues hidden all over the game that provide some nice backstory to the events, but beyond a few exceptions, they don't really affect much in the world. The other collectible part of the game are the Native American totems. These totems are scattered throughout the world like clues, but provide hints about possible outcomes to future events. For example, some totems will show possible deaths, while others will show possible fortunate events. I rarely found a totem that really helped my decision making, but a few did provide solid clues about what to expect in the future. Okay, so back to the story. The overall narrative isn't great, but it's filled with some good twists and turns. I definitely didn't expect the game to follow the path it eventually takes. The beginning chapters of the game seem to have some good build-up and show that there is more to this mountaintop than just a creepy dude hunting teenagers. But the second half of the story just sort of turns into horror schlock. It's super generic and kind of uninspired. There's also an odd element of the game where you're interviewed by a psychiatrist between chapters. Even after playing this twice, I don't see the point to it. It breaks up the narrative and slows down the story. The decisions you make in these segments have no impact on the story itself and only provide a small amount of insight into one of the characters. The characters themselves are probably the weakest part of the narrative. None of them are particularly interesting, and only 1 or 2 of them seem to have redeeming qualities. Mike is a generic asshole jock, so is Matt. Emily is a straight up bitch.
Matt, I need my bag.
Oh my god, Em, maybe you just forgot it.
Do you seriously think I'd forget my bag?
Well,
Do you?
Jessica is a classic ditzy blonde, Ashley is just sort of blah, and Chris is some kind of generic beta bro. Sam and Josh are the only characters who didn't really piss me off, and while I understand these characters are in part a satire of the entire genre, none of them really seemed worth saving. After my first playthrough, only 2 of the characters survived, and I didn't really care. I mean, from a gameplay standpoint, I was mad I made the wrong decisions, but I wasn't particularly sad I didn't save these people. While it's obvious there's a lot I didn't like about the story, it still created a very engaging and fun game. I think its unique gameplay alongside the horror elements makes you want to see what's coming next, even if the writing isn't the best. The fact that your decisions can cause the deaths of any of these characters makes the drama more impactful. If this was just a horror movie, it would be a 2-star throwaway on Netflix. But being able to actually change what these characters do instead of just yelling at the screen is what makes it stand out. Moving on, the presentation of Until Dawn is overall fantastic. The character models and performances are great, and though I don't think the realism is on the same level as something like Uncharted, it's still impressive. I think what impressed me the most is how I was bothered more by the acting or cheesy dialogue, but not the digital actors themselves. This blurring of the line makes the game feel quite real.
Bullseye!
What are you doing? How could you do that? Chris, that is so effed up!
What?
That poor little guy was alive about 10 seconds ago!
Animations can be a bit stiff at times, and characters can have some scary looking faces, but for the most part the overall quality of the visuals is great. However, general frame rate and performance wasn't great. I may be nitpicking, but it was disappointing to see so many frame dips and slowdowns throughout the game. Considering the linear nature of the story and tightly controlled walking segments, you'd expect some better QA. In any other game this wouldn't be a big deal, but considering the entire game is based around dialogue and creating a believable atmosphere, the constant reminder that you're playing a video game that stutters and hitches hurts the experience. The audio is spot on, the atmosphere is creepy, and the soundtrack hits all the right beats. However, at times, the use of music and certain camera angles can make the jump scares a bit predictive. I was never really scared playing the game because the amount of foreshadowing clues you into the fact that some scary stuff is about to happen. I think at times, having the player see and hear less would have created more intense surprises. And lastly, the actual dialogue is excellent. Most games have some oddly recorded lines or weird audio levels, but Until Dawn has movie quality dialogue, and though I wasn't a huge fan of some of the actual content, the actors portrayed their respective characters quite well. I can't really think of a single performance that stands out as being bad. Getting some legit actors like Hayden Pent, whatever, and this guy was a great choice. Until Dawn was a great experience, and I would suggest it to any PS4 owner. Its narrative isn't that good and is full of horror cliches, but the choice-based mechanics makes the game very engaging. I personally love this type of game, but for many it's not enough of a game, and I understand that. But if you're like me and sometimes just want something that you can sort of chill out and experience, like some sort of interactive movie, then it's a great option. Not only is it fun to play the first time, but the mechanics offer up a decent bit of replayability. I've already played the game twice, and will most likely play it at least once more down the line. I wish the narrative had been a little more unique, and I wish the characters had been more relatable. But for 20 bucks, I think I got my money's worth.
Oh, no, damn it!
Okay everybody, that was my video for this week. I hope you liked it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, I think you know what to do. Leave me a comment in the comment section, and as always, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one in the future. Coming up next week, or this weekend, I should be having another video. It's been a little busy recently. I got sick, and that's why my voice has been a little weird. I wasn't able to record this weekend, so sorry about the late video, but I'll have more coming soon, and I'll see you then.